This video is sponsored by SimpliSafe, and let me tell you, there's no safe like SimpliSafe. Welcome to Electrified. It's your host, Dylan Loomis. Another few days go by, and we get another FSD 14. Release. Ashok was touting 14.1.2 with a much-awaited feature. That feature turned out to be Mad Max mode, making a comeback after years of dormancy in the Tesla software stack. Because yes, back around Autopilot version 9, Tesla actually had a Mad Max mode for overtaking slow vehicles. But later it was mostly phased out and likely parts of it were included in driving profiles, specifically assertive. But Ashok said for when you're late to your flight or to pick up your kid from school and so on. And Ashok just reposted this from Mike P. 14.1.2 is very aggressive but simultaneously feels way safer than even standard mode V13 highway. Hyper aware of traffic pattern changes, follow distance is way better, also zero brake stabs on this drive. I got off the highway and had to merge into super dense traffic. The cut-in on Mad Max was incredible, honestly better at being assertive and safe than almost all human drivers. No way anyone but a pro is competing with a mixture of assertiveness and safety. I'm getting so hyped right now, this feels like the big one. I so far see zero reason why this can't go unsupervised inside of the robotaxi fleet at the very least. And look, Mad Max will not be for everyone, but don't forget, you do not have to use it. Zach said it will not cut people off or make any dangerous decisions. It's assertive and its lane changes are very thought out as well, to which Ashok said yes. And now, would Banish or a new actually smart summon have been more welcomed features? Yes, probably, but to me it's clear Tesla wants to get version 14 to a point release that can go wide to AI4 owners, and then once they do that, I would not be surprised if Banish and smart summon follow shortly thereafter. Phil Duan from Tesla said beyond the cool features, the real upgrade is that version 14 is significantly safer than version 13. Publicly, it's a very small sample size so far with version 14, but remember, Tesla likely has a fair amount of internal testing of version 14, some with robotaxis, but Tesla is apparently seeing significant improvements in intervention data with version 14, which is encouraging. But it's fair to push back a bit and say, if that's really the case, why is it not being sent wider?
But yeah, I think this version is so much better than the previous two. The other ones were safe, they were just a little bit jerky. So I said early access members should probably get this. I think this version, with what I drove today, could go to everybody. It's as smooth as 13.2.9 on my N of 1 drives today. It did a good job. None of the issues that were in the previous versions I could feel or talk about today.
Chuck also said 14.1.2 fixed all the lane changing and brake stabbing issues for me. This will go wider, IMO. It's a good build.
I'm in Mad Max mode. I'm going 49 in a 40. That's speeding, but it's okay. I'm going with flow of traffic. But what I want to show you up here, and here's a lane change, very smooth. We got a flashing yellow school zone. 15 miles an hour, wind flashing. I do believe it's going to slow down, but it's being constrained by cars also slowing down. So, but remember, we're in Mad Max mode. So if it thought it was annoyed, it would go around. It's definitely doing school zone behavior here. We're going 15, and we have a speed limit of 15. So it actually did it. End school zone sign is right there. We just passed it. So now you're actually incorrect. So you didn't read the end of school zone sign. How long are you going to stay 15? Because now you're wrong. Oh, there you go to 40. Okay. I don't know how you chose that because you didn't use the sign. So maybe you have a map data layer that you're looking at there. I'm not sure. But either way, that was actually okay.
And clearly, if Tesla feels comfortable bringing this Mad Max mode back now, years later with version 14, they are indeed very confident in the safety profile of this version, which is what we've said since the first release. There's some jittery and uncertain behavior at times, like it's seen some things, which is already being smoothed out, but the awareness and reaction time and that extra nuance with all of the extra parameters is very apparent with version 14. After everything I've seen, I'm even more confident now saying that version 14 with future point releases sometime after a wider release where it'll exponentially gather more data, version 14 will be the one where we first see true unsupervised, the removal of the safety monitor for robotaxi and ride-hail, and likely unsupervised in certain limited geographies in 2026 for customer cars. And one of the biggest problems I've had with version 13 is this right here. Sawyer was asked if he's seen an improvement with version 14 from pulling out too slowly in front of fast moving traffic, to which Sawyer said yes. The worst disengagement I've ever had was on version 13, making a basic right turn into traffic and it pulled out right in front of a truck. This was months ago. I shared it on X, but I could not believe it happened. Setting the max speed for this Mad Max mode would be a very nice feature, but I still see a lot of people asking, so to be very clear, even still with 14.1.2, you cannot set the max speed. And I have seen a few other people getting 14.1.2, so it looks like a small new wave is receiving the update. Just over a week ago, there was an active shooter situation in my neighborhood. The police and multiple outlets told my community to stay inside, close the blinds, lock the doors, and stay alert. My mother-in-law came upstairs and sat with us since we have a big egress window in the basement. If you're not doing everything in your power to protect yourself and your family, I think it's a mistake. Which is why I'm eager to share how pleased I am with SimpliSafe, the sponsor of this video. It's simple, really. They offer features many competitors I researched don't, like ActiveGuard. Their prices are very fair. The installation and setup really couldn't have been easier. There are no contracts or cancellation fees, and there's a 60-day money-back guarantee with free return shipping. Plus, you can build out your system over time as there are plenty of sensors and cameras to choose from. I have water sensors placed strategically, motion sensors I can activate when I'm away, door sensors, and cameras all around the house. And I can check in on our home from anywhere via the mobile app. So yeah, there are many reasons they have won numerous awards. The ActiveGuard feature means you get agents monitoring in real time and they can identify suspicious people before a break-in even happens. They can trigger alarms and spotlights and request an urgent police dispatch. Over 5 million people have already trusted SimpliSafe with their security, so if you want to check it out, you can save 50% on your SimpliSafe security system when you sign up for a professional monitoring plan, and you'll get your first month free. Visit simplisafe.com/electrified to customize yours, or scan the QR code on the screen. And remember, there's no safe like SimpliSafe. And what do you know? FSD is released in Australia, and now we have 60 Minutes Australia set to do a hit piece on the technology.
The technology has a lot of problems.
Tesla drivers, in a sense, are guinea pigs.
So is everyone else on the road.
No one else in the world calls it auto anything, because it's not.
So this technology is killing people.
Absolutely.
I would say Missy Cummings' neural network has a lot of problems, and as you can see, that clip used many old videos from very outdated versions of Tesla's autopilot and FSD. And remember, so far, every single negative outcome has ultimately been the driver's fault. They have always remained responsible. Here it is. We finally get an update on Tesla insurance. This time it might be heading to Florida. Tesla has filed to update its private passenger auto program in Florida effective December this year. The company has not yet launched in the state since its initial filing in Florida back in 2022. Tesla currently offers insurance in 12 states through its subsidiaries and partners. And this program in Florida includes a group rate for Tesla employees and uses a monthly payment plan with no installment fees. If you're not familiar, those installment fees are basically just additional costs that your insurance company will charge if you want to pay your premium in smaller periodic installments, aka monthly payments rather than annual. Also this month, the California Department of Insurance has accused Tesla of egregious delays and systemic failures with its insurance program. They said Tesla's insurance arm, along with its partner State National Insurance, engaged in willful unfair claims settlement practices, including egregious delays in responding to policyholder claims in all steps of the process and unreasonable denials. And through September of this year, the regulator received 1,481 complaints against Tesla and identified nearly 2,000 insurance code violations. But just so you know, the majority of those violations involve Tesla failing to respond to customers within the mandatory 15-day period. And don't forget, in California, Tesla can't offer that real-time insurance or telematics thanks to regulatory hurdles, meaning Tesla's safety score has no impact on the insurance rates in California. And we should have an update on this. The CDI gave Tesla and State National 15 days from October 3rd to submit a response and to propose a corrective plan. And hopefully Tesla now moving forward in Florida after years of basically nothing shows that they have things under control. I say that because Florida's auto insurance market has some of the highest costs in the nation. Not only does Florida have the highest average annual premiums in the United States, but the claims related costs are also significantly higher than the average in Florida. And it's been a while, but don't forget, in July of last year, Tesla registered an insurance brokerage in China. So Tesla has been looking for regulatory approval to sell insurance products internationally as well. There have been reports of Tesla trying to expand to Georgia, New Jersey, Oregon, and Virginia. Tesla's also tried to expand in Europe. But if this Florida one comes through, this will be the first new state in almost 3 years. Of course, approval will depend on regulators in Florida, but there's a chance that this could be approved sometime in the next 2 to 3 months. Now, just real quick, I'm not going to take the bait on this one. All of you guys know where I stand on the Cybercab. I'm sticking with basically all of the Tesla executives that have now said it will never have a wheel and pedals. But I'm sure most of you have seen Farzad is still saying that it will. Eric replied to him saying, if it helps you, you should see the form factor as a beautiful integration of design, occupant packaging for autonomy, operating efficiency, and vehicle function. That replying to Farzad saying, I just don't understand why you would make such a banger form factor and not put a steering wheel and pedal in it. All I'm going to say right now, there's a lot of chatter about that 2,500 vehicle limit cap for vehicles that don't have a wheel and pedals. Meaning, as things stand now, yes, that would apply to Tesla and the Cybercab. However, look what we find in Tesla's 10K. Our current vehicles fully comply, and we expect that our vehicles in the future will fully comply with all applicable FMVSS with limited or no exemptions. However, FMVSS are subject to change from time to time. So Tesla is hinting that its future vehicles may not need any exemptions. And not only that, but NHTSA has been working on finalizing some new occupant protection updates for vehicles without driving controls, which on their own might eventually eliminate the need for any of these exemptions. So I just think that Tesla knows something we don't, and that by 2026, this 2,500 vehicle cap for vehicles like the Cybercab will be changed by the time Tesla is ready to deploy more than that figure. Yesterday, the Delaware Supreme Court held oral arguments for Tesla and Elon's appeal. And just listen to how the plaintiff's attorney decided to kick things off.
I submit to the court that there's nothing extraordinary about this trial opinion. It's based on careful fact-finding and application of settled law to those facts. What makes the case truly extraordinary is that it addresses the largest pay package in human history. It's not an overstatement. It's the largest package in history, awarded to the richest man on earth and someone who is also one of the most powerful men on our planet. The trial court did its job without regard to the personalities involved. The chancellor found facts, applied the law, and did equity. This is the case into which this court steps.
Now listen, I'll say from my perspective, watching as a normal person with no law background, it did seem like things went very well for Tesla. However, I think it's important to point out that Supreme Court decisions are very hard to predict from oral arguments alone. And as we know, there is so much riding on this case for Delaware, facing potential exodus from other companies. So I'm certainly not going to get over my skis or out of my depth on this one. But from here, a written decision is expected sometime in the next few months.
Yeah, I mean, one of the quotes, and I wrote it down, I made this point, is, there's no law against shareholders, fully informed shareholders making bad decisions. Yeah. They're perfectly entitled. If they know the facts and they want to do whatever they want to do is okay. If you know the facts.
I'll have the link to the full oral arguments below, but we already know Tesla has a plan in place no matter how this plays out. And it would be easier and better for Tesla if they win the appeal, but even if they don't, Tesla has already laid out a path forward to make Elon whole. And yes, there would be significant financial and accounting uncertainty potentially for a few years if Tesla loses, but it has zero impact on Tesla's fundamental business, so we just want this to wrap up quickly so everyone can move on. And of course, hopefully Tesla does not have to pay these egregious lawyer fees to these parasitic attorneys, and this goes in Tesla and Elon Elon's favor so that other greedy shareholders and lawyers are not encouraged to do something similar. Tesla's Model Y has been awarded gold at the 2025 Australian Good Design Awards. It joins an elite list of projects recognized for excellence in innovation, sustainability, and user experience. It's now the 67th year for this award program, and this year's theme, Design for Better, highlighted the role design plays in building a more inclusive and environmentally sustainable world. They said Tesla is clearly a trailblazer in the world of EVs, incredible technology coupled with world-class design and engineering, smart, innovative, and impactful design at its very best. You may have seen chatter the past few days that Waymo is talking about moving to a vision-only approach, eventually getting rid of LiDAR. But I'd like to point you to a blog post from Waymo nearly 1 year ago. In it, they introduced eMMA, end-to-end multimodal for autonomous driving. Key aspects of this research include end-to-end learning. It processes raw camera inputs and textual data to generate various driving outputs, including planar trajectories, perception objects, and road graph elements. So what you've seen the past few days is not necessarily anything new. Waymo has been looking into ways to get rid of LiDAR now for quite some time. So yes, it's safe to say behind the scenes, Waymo is doing what it can to move to a camera-dominant approach. Waymo just put out a new blog post titled, "Hello London, your Waymo ride is arriving. We're bringing our fully autonomous ride-hailing service across the pond where we intend to offer rides with no human behind the wheel in 2026. Over the coming months, we'll lay the groundwork for our service in collaboration with our fleet operations partner Move and continue to engage with local and national leaders to secure the necessary permissions for our commercial ride-hailing service in London." And today, we learned that Waymo and DoorDash are now partnering. They're bringing the safety and convenience of Waymo to grocery runs, meal orders, and more in the Metro Phoenix area. In the coming months, DoorDash customers may be matched with a fully autonomous Waymo vehicle from a participating merchant across their 315 square mile service area in Phoenix. Just opt into autonomous vehicle delivery when checking out, and you may be matched with the Waymo. When it arrives, you open the trunk with your DoorDash app and grab your items. They said we'll begin by delivering orders from DashMart, DoorDash's convenience, grocery, and retail stores, with plans to include more local Phoenix merchants and a wider variety of offerings over time. Tesla has started sending out invitations to the winners from the random drawing for people to attend the annual shareholder meeting in November. And there will be factory tours of Giga Texas for those in attendance. Norway is planning to eliminate its main subsidy for EVs over the next 2 years. They said, "We have had a goal that all new passenger cars should be electric by 2025, and we can say that the goal has been achieved. Therefore, the time is ripe to phase out the benefits." On the Chinese configurator for the Model Y L, the light gray interior color is now available for order. USA Today said ChargePoint's new 600 kilowatt DC fast chargers will start arriving next year, and Eaton will work with ChargePoint to connect these chargers to the grid. And later they said right now, no EV will be able to take full advantage of ChargePoint's blazing new chargers. As we know, most EVs right now don't yet have the 800-volt architectures which are required to hit higher charging speeds. Looking at this chart from State of Charge, you'll see ChargePoint in the US has about 7.6% of all of the DC fast charging ports in the US. For comparison, Tesla is at 54.6%. ChargePoint does offer CCS and NACS for this new 600 kilowatt charging, so whether this move by ChargePoint turns out to be future-proofing or overkill, we will find out in time. But with so many automakers pulling back from focusing on EVs, given again that most of the current fleet can't accept these higher rates, I have some doubts, at least for the next few years, but hopefully ChargePoint can make it through and stick around for a long time. Joe Tetmeyer shared that the Model Y standard production is now well underway at Giga Texas. Tesla stock closed the day at $428.75, down 1.4%. 0.47%, while the NDX was down 0.36%. The volume was 19% below the average. Don't forget, check out SimpliSafe linked below. You could start with one camera if you want and build your system from there over time. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Please like the video if you did. You can find me on X linked below, and a huge thank you to all of my Patreon supporters.